So now I have to ask you because I need to know, and I've never gotten a real answer out of people. What is the default rate on these things? Not the ones that are bad. Like, I'm talking about like the dirty ones, like the 45% interest, unsecured, you're lending to the pizzeria, freaking $20,000. What is the default rate on these things?
I mean, obviously I have to protect myself, right? You see it as dirty. I could have just saved the guy's business.
All right, you know what?
But
you're right. I take that back.
Listen.
I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. Edit that out. You pronounce your last name
Henriquez.
Is it Henriquez or
Yeah.
Enriquez? And
Yeah. The H.
Are you Spanish?
This is America. Yeah, Puerto Rico.
No shit. 100%?
50.
50. You guys got the hottest fucking women, but they will ruin your fucking life.
Yeah, that's all I've heard.
We got that on camera, right? That's got to be in there. Okay. Yeah, kid. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer Podcast. My name is Charles, a.k.a. the Handsome Homebuyer. Formerly Captain Permit, but we still love him. 516-513-8838. They're right upstairs if you have a permit problem. And this podcast is sponsored by the one and only, you know who I'm talking about. Do you know Sal Rosolo?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Sal Rosolo. You know Sal Rosolo, right?
Yeah.
You know everybody. I feel like you're one of those, like, we just met not that long ago, but for some reason you know everybody I know and then some.
Well, Long Island's a small place, and I feel like if you're very transparent and keep your word to people, the circle stays tight, and they connect with good people.
Sal Rosolo, Cardinal Financial. If you need a loan officer, that's the guy. That's it. There's no other way around it. He's the guy. If you have somebody else, you think that's the guy or the girl, they're not. Trust me when I tell you, Sal Rosolo.
I got my mortgage from him.
There you go.
Yeah.
That wasn't even planned. It wasn't even staged. I had absolutely no idea that that was the truth, but Sal Rosolo is the truth. All right. So
Here we go.
we're going to get into it.
Yeah,
So you and I, we met at OG.
correct.
Shout out to OG Fitness. By the way, if anybody hasn't seen your transformation, once they see this podcast, I'm sure they're going to go to your, are you private on social media?
I think so.
You are? Okay,
Yeah.
so you might not see it. If you're lucky enough to get let in through the gate and become a follower of this gentleman, you'll see. But you've had an insane body transformation, bro. I got to start there. I was just looking at it before. I was like, Jesus Christ. Like, you must have lost like 50 pounds.
I'm down 100 pounds overall.
Shit.
Yeah. I just got real fat, living the crazy life, like we just spoke about. And drinking, eating out every night, it gains on you fast. Once I had my son, kids are very impressionable, and that was kind of my wake-up call. So, like, once he turned, 1 year old, I was just like, damn, I can't be a fat fuck anymore. And I went to work.
So I don't know you very well, but there are some rumors rustling around that before you were the upstanding business person that you are today, that you have a wild past, right? That, and a lot of people do have a wild past, which we don't have to go into. That's not the point. But the question I'm getting to that is, was your son ultimately, people that turn their life around, and unfortunately, you're very lucky because a lot of people don't turn their life around and become as successful as you are. But people that have, there's a pivotal moment. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or whatever cliche you want to say. Was your son's birth ultimately the catalyst for you completely changing your life?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, majority of the people who I hung out with were wild and crazy, but ultimately he was my why. As soon as I found out she was pregnant, the idea of everything was like, oh shit, I got to change my life around. But the day I saw him, and then once I realized he sees what I do, and it was like, this is happening, I'm making the change. Everything else elevated, after I made the physical change too. So it went hand in hand.
Because kids are super impressionable. Was there a moment where you were still kind of like half in that life, half not, and you noticed he said something to you or looked at you, or you did something in front of him and you looked at him and you were just like, nah?
I would say from the age, from when he was born till 1 year old, I was kind of 50-50, right? I would still go out, hang out with the guys, and I think the biggest thing that I learned, or the most powerful word that anybody can learn, is the word no. So when people invite you out and it's just going to watch football or whatever the case may be, if it doesn't align with your goals or who you want your son to be or who I want myself to be, then I'm not going. I'm saying no without explaining myself.
Yeah, no, it's interesting you say that because I was having a meeting actually yesterday with my sales team. So I used to look at all the houses. I don't look at the houses anymore. I have guys that are out looking at the houses and they feed data back, and we have a deal desk and we push out the offers that way. But I started saying to them like, yo, you're not being an asshole, but once you get to a certain level, you have to realize that your time is actually super fucking valuable. Like at the beginning, when you have a lot of time and you're not doing a lot of business, you go to everything. If somebody asks you to do something for them, you do it. Now it's not that you don't want to do it, but you just don't have the time. And if whatever you're doing isn't you spending time with your close friends, your family, or pushing your life forward and making you money, it doesn't make sense.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, my life is pretty boring, but it's rewarding at the same time. So, we're pretty much on the same schedule, like going to the gym. Yep. I wake up, there's never a day now where I like dread going. I pop up right out of bed, I'm going to the gym, and that's how my day starts.
Yeah.
That gets accomplished onto the next daily, I call it daily discipline. So, I'll write like 5 things that I have to accomplish that are non-negotiable every day.
Do you?
Every day.
Do you write that the night before?
No, I do it in the morning.
Okay.
Only because, things could change from the time you go to sleep. So you wake up in the morning, you might wake up to, shit, I might have to do that, or whatever the case may be. But the 5 things that I write down, it's not changing. So it will be arranged around those 5 things that I have to do.
So take me, just for shits and giggles, because I know that you're a super regimented guy. What's your morning? So you're up.
I'm up at 5 every day.
Jumping in the 39-degree pool.
It's either before or after the gym, but yeah, I go in every day.
3 to 5 minutes in 39-degree water.
Right, so that's one of the daily disciplines or, critical tasks. So
I love that shit.
Yeah, it's really good. So going to the gym is a non-negotiable thing. Andy Frisell is like a guy who I kind of set the roadmap or drew a blueprint for me. It's called 75 Hard. So
okay, yeah.
During my transformation or whatever the case may be, I did 75 Hard twice. So it would consist of 2 workouts a day. One has to be indoor, one has to be outdoor.
Yep.
Any diet that you choose, but it has to be a real diet. No snacks, no booze, and you have to read and write. Or you have to read 10 pages a day.
Yeah. The before and after picture of you is fucking wild. It's pretty amazing. You should be proud of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely
You basically
proud of
carved out of granite at this point.
One thing about the physical fitness, it's almost like you're never satisfied. So it's like a constant thing to chase. I love the chase. I love the hunt. And, it's a thing that will keep you going.
So just out of curiosity, and if you don't want to share it, that's fine. What were your 5 non-negotiables for today?
So it could be the same thing, but it has to get done.
Okay.
So mine changes, I guess, on what I'm looking to obtain or what I'm after. So mine today were go to the gym, 10,000 steps, and they'll all apply to one will be for work or one will be physical fitness and then my family. So today's was go to the gym, 10,000 steps, family time, which is 1 hour a day. It doesn't seem like a lot, but without my phone that I hang out with them.
No, that's a lot.
Business owners, as majority of your day is working. So
yeah.
Monday through Friday is 1 hour a day. I come home, phone goes somewhere else, and I'm hanging out with my 4-year-old son and my girlfriend.
So let me ask you a question, because this is good for me also, right? Because I'm one of those guys who's like, fuck, I don't know if I can have a kid because I have so much shit going on, and then I have to give the kid the right amount of attention. But I've heard men that are very successful in business say it's more of a quality thing over a quantity thing. Because hey, listen, there are guys that they come home at 5 o'clock and they're on their phone and watching TV for the next 4 or 5 hours with the kid sitting there, but there's no real quality time there. So some people would argue, hey, the 1 hour that you are totally focused with your son is way more impactful than the 4 hours a day that somebody's just sitting there watching TV with their kid or playing around on
it's
their
significant phone. Because at that age they're a sponge. They catch more than what you teach or caught more than taught. So just the way he acts, walks, talks, he looks
exactly like you.
He's a
He's
replica.
crazy, by the way.
Yeah, he's
like
replica.
a mini you.
Yeah, my girlfriend's not going to be happy to hear that. But, he definitely is, man. He's so funny. He's always cracking jokes, and it's rewarding. What you put into it is the product of him, and it's the same. It's the girl you love and yourself all in one. So,
would you say that you have an addictive personality?
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And the interesting thing is that I've realized recently at 44 years old is I tend to be drawn to other people that have addictive personalities. Like all my closest friends are addicts, for lack of a better word. And that's not necessarily like a substance thing. It's just an obsessive thing.
Yeah, so I mean, the other Sal that we know is the other common friend. And, when I said to you, like, oh, do you know Sal? And I was like, oh, he used to be crazy. And you repeated it to him. And he was like, I'm crazy. You should have seen that kid.
That was, and that is the first and only time that Sal has actually turned to me and said that. So when he said that, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
You two together must have been totally freaking wild off the wall, because I've never had Sal Pane look at me and say, no. That guy.
Yeah, so I mean, I know you want to touch on it a little bit.
We don't know. We don't have to.
We
don't have to. I'm just saying we don't have to go into it.
So I mean, addictive personalities. So I was young. We made a lot of money. And
By the way, seriously, and this is edited.
Yeah.
We don't. That wasn't like meant to segue into it. If you don't want to talk about it.
No, it's fine.
I meant it from the standpoint like I'm like a total addict with everything, and for me, it's like if either I'm all into work or I'm all into this, like I'm all into fitness. It's like everything is always obsessive.
Yeah. So my thing was never drugs or anything like that. So we made a lot. So we'll go into this, but obviously in financing, it was like the stock wave or the mortgage wave. I was in a room full of 150 young guys, and at the time, I'm 21, 22 years old.
The energy must have been sick.
Oh man, it was through the roof.
Yeah.
I don't think that could ever be like replicated again. Like even like my shop now, like it's great. I've been in other people's shops. It's amazing, right? The energy is contagious. But the first place where I started, it was like the evolution of our industry all in one, and young kids were making 20 to 100 grand a month. And
So we're talking, we're in the short-term business loan space, or we're talking just Wall Street brokerage stocks?
short-term business.
Okay.
loan. Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, right, so that people aren't confused, give kind of like the 60-second high-level overview about like your company and what you do.
So the name of my company is American Business Funding. We provide small business owners with financing alternatively from going to the bank. As you know, it's hard to get qualified from the bank nowadays. And the industry is kind of evolving, and it always does. And it's our job to stay on top of it and place people in positions where they will get the best deal.
Yeah, I mean, this industry is awesome. Like it is freaking awesome. Tons of opportunity. I mean, hey, listen, it's like with hard money lending with real estate. Some people are like, oh, that money's expensive. And my response to hard money in regards to real estate is, if it gets you into a deal that you can make money safely, it doesn't really matter what the money costs, right? Depending on what your margins are, and depending on like, if you have an opportunity and you need money to get there and you can't get it from traditional sources, even if you're getting it from a non-traditional source and it's more expensive, it's still allowing you to make money and have a business that otherwise would not exist.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a fast funding product too. That's what people don't realize. So like you could call me today, the money would be in your account tomorrow.
So explain how it works so people understand. Who are the people that you're lending to? Like, what is the structure? How does it like come together?
It could be any business owner nationwide. It doesn't matter the industry. A lot of people, I guess, deter from the fact like, oh, I could just go on Google and look up the best company for a business loan, but it wouldn't be custom tailored to your business necessarily. So like our job is to understand your business model, take you to the best lender that will give you the best available deal. It's based off your business bank statements, so it's not entirely credit based. What they mean by that is they're going to look at your bank statements, they're going to see the volume, the deposits, how many transactions you do a month, and your ending daily balances. Whatever you deposit a month, you usually qualify for. So if a guy's doing 100 grand a month, he'll qualify for 100K.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So are you guys acting as in a brokerage capacity, meaning you're linking them to some type of lender, or are you like raising funds yourself or crowdfunding from individuals? Like, where does that money come from?
So I'm a broker first, but I syndicate on a lot of deals. So I invest my money into a lot of different deals, or if it's a repeat customer, or like I cherry pick a file, like I know the guy, like that's a great business model, I want to be in on that deal. You could syndicate your capital into that as well and get a return on it.
Bro, I've always done like a little bit of lending here and there, but I started recently doing lending in like tough real estate deals. And let me tell you something, man, it's the fucking best thing in the world.
Yeah,
being the bank is the greatest thing in the world.
It's definitely changed since I've been in the industry. So I started in the industry through credit card processing. So credit card processing used to lend off that. Whatever you
Okay.
swipe a day, they would take a daily percentage, and that's how they would get paid back.
Do people relate to what you're doing as it's not really factoring because it's not off receivables.
It's not factoring, but they call it a factor rate. So if we're giving you 100,000, the factor rate would be a 1.25. Effectively, everyone's like, what do you mean it's 25%? It's not 25% because it doesn't grow or compound as you continue to go on. So Charles is doing 100 grand a month. He makes 5 to 6 deposits a month, and he does construction.
Okay.
Your rebuttal to me would be, what do you mean it's 25%? And I'm going to tell you, it's not an interest rate, it's a factor rate. It's a one-time flat fee on top of the money. I give you 100 grand, you pay me back 125 over the duration of 52 weeks. Your weekly payment would be 2,400, right?
Okay. But it is 25%, right? I guess when you think about it.
Essentially, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
There's
but I understand
there's
what
no
you're
other
saying.
way to spin it. But like, if you have a credit card,
it's not an interest rate; it's a fee. It's basically a fee.
absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, like with your mortgage, if you were lucky enough to lock in a 3% rate, let's
Yeah.
say, right? You're paying 3% a year on that.
Wow. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Right.
So, do rates fluctuate depending on the person? And if so, like, what are the factors?
Absolutely. So when they're looking at your file,
Yeah.
we say it's not entirely credit based, but if Charles has an 800 credit and I only have a 500 credit score,
That makes
then
sense.
you're going to get a better deal. But then you're going to look at the bank statements, and if let me get that in my bag. You're going to look at the bank statements,
Yeah.
and if your average daily balances are always above, $10,000, or you always keep money in the bank, that's what we're looking for. Somebody that's almost guaranteed to pay back every dollar, and your deposits and the strength of the business, how long you've been in business. There's preferred industries. So there's a bunch of different things that we take into consideration.
This is a wild business, man. I love it. What are the interest rate ranges that you see? We'll call it interest rate for lack of a better word because people understand that.
I'm not going to call it that, but
All right. What is the fee structure range for lack of a better?
I guess there is no range. It's what you qualify for you'll get. We have people that submit their bank statements and they're only doing 20 grand a month,
Well, not
and they're
dollar-
negative.
well, not dollar
Well, that's
amount.
what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
So the person will do 20 grand a month,
Okay.
and they're negative 5 days out of the month. So that's a high risk investment, or for somebody or a lender to basically bet that they're going to pay them back in that time frame.
Okay.
So they would get a higher rate than somebody that has a clean file. They would get 25% over a 1-year term, or a 1.25 factor.
Is what that person would get, or somebody with a clean file?
The clean file would be like a 1.25 factor rate over 12 months. Somebody who has bad credit, bad profile, bad everything.
Worst of the worst.
You're paying, on 100 grand, you're paying back 145.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bro, that is awesome.
It's a great industry. So that's where I was fortunate enough to, and I guess smart enough to save a lot of my money when I was younger, and I would syndicate into a lot of deals. So you have 100 grand and you want to be smart about it. At the same time, you would like to spread it apart when you syndicate the money.
Yeah.
So if you don't take 100 grand and you put it into one deal, you want to go in on those 45% deals over 6 months, but you take 5 grand and put it into 20 different deals because, let's not be a dummy here.
Yeah.
There's a risk of default.
So I want to get into this because I've heard a lot of things, right? That I'm just curious about. So I heard that the overwhelming majority of these loans are actually a lot smaller than you would think. I've heard that the bulk of these types of loans is $5,000 to $15,000. Is that true?
No.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's guys who I came up with in the industry that are very successful.
Okay.
And they have, huge broker shops. And, there's guys like me who I keep it around 5 to 10 guys. And it's all about volume. So you will get deals that are 5 for 15 grand, but
Okay.
my average deal size is 80,000.
Wow.
So I've done deals north of $2 million before. So we say small
Wow.
business financing, but you'll get what you qualify for.
So, do you know Christian Arciello?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's been in the industry for a while.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just curious. It's a small world.
He's a good guy.
Very good guy.
Yeah.
I met him when I was 19 years old. We worked at a male strip club together.
God.
And that, you never knew that.
No.
Escapes. Merrick. Now
Like you actually danced?
him and I were cocktail waiters.
Oh, there you go. The bow tie and everything?
Bow tie and everything. Black bow tie and everything. Yes, absolutely. That's where I met him. We were 18, 19 years old. That place is now a supermarket, but that was a wild fucking time.
And I was the crazy one?
I mean, it was, believe it or not, man, like, you would think that place would be, like, wild and crazy and awesome, but, like, it was a mess. Like, all it did was get me into trouble.
I mean, I can imagine. I mean,
But not in good trouble. Like, I'll give you an example. It was like a dirty place, so I was always getting, like, the flu. I was getting, like, sick all the time because that place was so, like, physically dirty. 2, you'd go there, you'd meet girls, you'd go meet them at, like, a bar or something afterwards, and their fucking boyfriend would be there, and they didn't tell you, and all of a sudden, you're, like, in a full-blown brawl.
What am I doing here?
Yeah, you're
exactly,
in Bogarts.
Yeah.
You know, you're in Bogarts. Are you old enough for that? How old are you?
I just turned 34.
God damn it,
Yeah.
young bastard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not young. I feel like I'm at the good age where
The good news for you is, so I just turned 44. It's all good, dude.
you look great and you move great too.
Thank you.
You know, yeah,
OG, man.
there's no place like it. You know, shout out to Evan, Taylor, Lenny. They're great guys.
No, that place is the Mecca.
Yeah.
That place is the Mecca. It puts you in insane shape. It's nothing like I've ever done. I've never sweat like that in my entire life.
I love the hit workouts. Like, my main goal, I guess, during my transformation wasn't to be like a six-pack and be on a magazine or a bodybuilder stage or whatever the case may be.
But you're there. Cue the picture again of this dude jacked, tatted and jacked.
So my main goal was to be athletic again. You know, I love to faster, stronger. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, of course. Listen, but it's also part of who we are. Like, you're always chasing the next thing. Like, I always say, it's interesting you said that before. I always got to be chasing something.
I'm so fucking competitive, man. Like, we've worked out together. Like, you know, like, I don't really look around the room and see what anybody else is doing, but I'm, like, locked in. So, like, if they have a 120-pound dumbbell, I'm grabbing the 120-pound dumbbell. If there's 45 plates on there, I'm throwing on as many as I can and trying to do it. But I'm pushing myself to the limit of me, you know, how you do anything is how you do everything. You know, that quote goes around, but I feel like that's what helped me change the most, you know, is being present. So, like, if I'm at the gym, I'm working out as hard as I can. If I'm in the office, my dedication goes towards my guys, my business, everything. If I'm at home, my son and my girlfriend. Like, you know, like, if you're there, do it. You know, there's no point to
I get it.
beat around the bush or anything
It makes sense.
like that. Yeah.
Back to the short-term business loans, out of curiosity. So basically, total misnomer on my part that the deals are small. I mean, $2 million is not small at all.
Well, I mean,
80
I
grand,
guess
100 grand.
it depends on the data you're getting.
So who's the client base? Who are the people that come to a business like you? Obviously, you can service any business, right? But who are the people that you see coming to you? Like, do you get repeat customers? Is it certain industries? Is it seasonal business where they have cash flow crunch issues because they typically cash out at certain periods of time and they need float? What is it?
Well, I mean, you may know. It's hard to get a loan to the bank nowadays. You walk into Chase Bank, and then that's another thing. The rates are, you know, whatever they are, 8%.
Yeah.
And it's kind of making our job a little bit easier. That, number one, they won't give you the dollar amount that you're looking for. You know, you might do $1 million a year, and Chase might be like, here's $100,000. Or if it's a line of credit, and it might be tapped out. So these guys have alternative things. So if you're a construction guy and you're flipping a house, cost labor material might cost you $100,000, but you only have $100,000 in your pocket. Are you gonna roll the dice and use all your money to lay it out for the project and leave yourself with nothing for error? Or would you take hours and you know in the back of your head, off the $100,000 you'll make 300? You won't mind using our money paying back 125. You just made a 175 profit.
No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Is it like construction? Is it restaurants? Is it manufacturing? Is it everything?
It's anything from cannabis, restaurants, construction.
Cannabis?
Yeah, I mean, cannabis is legal nowadays. So
Well, I guess it makes sense. Like, what if they have crops that are growing and they're not ready and they need money to fund that before turning around and selling?
Inventory, taking over new shops or new territory, expanding, building cultivation. You know,
'Cause
there's a lot of things that might go into cannabis. So, I mean, that's like one thing I am, I guess, fortunate enough or lucky enough that I learned a lot about every single industry. So
Yeah.
you get a contractor on the phone, you'd be like, are you a general contractor or a subcontractor? Or, you know, what exactly are you going into? I built a new home from scratch. So like now I'm like in it, like, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, all the materials went up during COVID. You know, how is it? You know, I think, what was it, like a 2x4 was started at like $3 and it was up to $11.
14
during
bucks,
COVID.
something
Yeah.
crazy like that. It was horrible.
Yeah. So, learning a lot about the industries come into play, building a connection with a client. But I guess going back to your question on how we find the people is the old school grind, man. Dial on the phone. You never know when you're going to get, you know, we call it a whale on the phone, or, you know, it's not really 5 to 15K deals. There are a lot of them,
Yeah.
but, you know, that's not, you know, your deal point or deal size.
Yeah, but do you notice trends with certain industries, or it's really just all industries?
It's definitely all industries, and within our guidelines, you know, construction and trucking would be like a high risk industry because
Yeah, that
construction
makes
guys
sense.
don't make a lot of deposits. So like when they're looking at somebody's file, that guy is only doing 4 to 5 deposits a month. Once he finishes that job, he might be down to only 2 or 3 deposits a month.
Yeah.
So some of his revenue might be gone.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, in certain industries like that, they're taking cash, and they're not making the deposits, so you don't know. Which kind of goes back to the whole thing where it's like, I know people, you know, people hate me for saying this shit, but people like to hide money because they're like, I don't want to pay taxes. But in actuality, that hurts your business. One of the best things my accountant did when I first got into business, he's like, listen, there's worse things in life than making money and having to pay taxes. You can't grow and be big if you're not showing that you're making money. Because if
Right.
you're not showing that you're making money, you're never going to be able to borrow money. You're never going to be able to leverage. You're never going to be able to grow. You're always going to be stuck in this like small business type of grind.
Yeah, I mean, just I guess over the years, like, you know, you see what you qualify for. So like I qualify for more things than what I would have 5 years ago. And it seems like where the economy is, it's harder for the traditional banks to lend money. So the untraditional route, you know, just
Yeah.
keeps escalating.
No, listen, it's really difficult. If you own a business and you go into a bank, like you're not getting money. Bro, I have a tremendous amount of real estate, a ton of freaking assets. I had to arm wrestle to get more than a $25,000 limit on a credit card where we spend $200,000 a day on material. It's bananas.
Yeah, that's
I've
crazy.
had track records with banks for a decade and still like, we don't extend anymore. It's like, bro, how do you operate a business? Poor Mark is in there paying off credit cards every 36 hours. It's very, very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So with your stuff they're unsecured loans. There's nothing backing these things.
It's unsecured, you know, obviously read the print, but, you know, we do have asset-based loans.
Okay.
You know, there's a bunch. I don't just stick to the MCA route, you know.
Okay.
If the guy is telling me there's no way I'm going to pay 25% over a year, you know, there's other options. We have access to line of credits, SBA loans, you know, we'll fast track it. The asset-based or real estate-based has been a big one because like you said, you know, you own however many properties.
I want in on that. You doing a lot of those things?
Yeah, so I mean, we're in the process of closing a really big one.
Dude, those things are the best.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time and it's not really,
Really?
What's that?
It takes a lot of time to do. Oh,
For
okay.
me,
Okay, hold on.
I get a document,
Yeah,
the next day the
yeah.
guy's getting money.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
no.
There's a lot more paperwork that is involved in it. The appraisal has to go out,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
the LTV.
Yeah, you're used to funding in like 3 hours.
I mean, it's been done. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
It's-
okay.
Yeah.
So by your standards, yes, it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's you know, if you're boogieing, like you could do it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the guy has his shit together and he has all the documents you need, there's no doubt about it. It could be done.
So basically, I think the misconception that people have, which I had about your business, which is good that you're here, right? Because now people can know, is that it's not just what you think of short-term business loans where it's like super high fees and it's unsecured and it is what it is. Like you're not just lending to like the pizzeria or the car wash or the local contractor. You are essentially a comprehensive financing solution for businesses of all kinds that need access to capital, and the rate or the fee, I'm trying to use the right terminology here, the fees can range from, very affordable, somewhere around what you would get from a bank or from a traditional hard money lender, depending on the way you're borrowing, to much higher. But it also depends on your situation and your ability to get money somewhere else.
I would tell everyone the same thing. The same thing.
Right?
Thing I would tell.
Felt like that was very there.
You were in the groove.
Like, I need to be the spokesperson.
Yeah, you should.
Put me in the public eye.
You got to get in the game, man. So I would tell the merchant or a client, just like I would tell anybody else, if you take this money and you try to pay your bills, you're probably going to drown. If you have a specific goal or objective or, project that you're going to do with the money, it will work. And, you'll know it's there in your back pocket for the next time. The better relationship and the pay history that you build with that specific lender, the next time the rate and the term will be, significantly better.
What percentage of clients are repeat clients?
Half.
Wow.
Yeah. So
are these guys paying off early, or they're running the year usually?
So that's another thing. We offer a prepayment discount. So we incentivize you to pay it back early. So you might take a 25% loan, but if you paid it off in the first 6 months, you pay 15.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
So that's basically, that's annualized. So that's not bad.
No, and your payments go towards it. So, if you take $100,000, you pay back $125, your weekly payment's $2,400, right?
Who does
You have to have your own collection team.
So are you involved in that, or you're brokering the deal, making the VIG, passing it off, and it's like, here, lender, this is your thing now?
I mean, the default ratio, luckily, is like 5 to 10%. Right?
Well, I was going to get into that.
It doesn't happen often.
Well, I'm not talking about defaults. I'm talking about you lend money. Like,
it's an automated payment. It comes right out of your system.
Do you guys deal with actually collecting the money, or is it whoever the lender is? Forget about the stuff that you syndicate.
The lender does it. So like A to Z process, the person sends in their application and bank statements. I get them the offer, pitch the offer, they take the deal. It's linked to your bank account like a gym membership. So every week that $2,400 is coming out of your bank account. Every Friday, whatever the case may be.
But do you have any responsibility as the broker? Like with mortgages, there's like a 6-month clawback. Is there any type of clawback? Are you guys on the hook? Obviously, I mean,
30 to 45 days is our clawback. It depends on the lender and what they do. So, but if they make their payments for the first month or two, we're in the clear.
So let's play this out for a second. I'm just thinking worst case scenario. Let's say you lend this month, $50 million. Let's say there's like a freaking war in 2 weeks, and like the world is jacked up, like full-blown hardcore recession. You can get a clawback on all that money if everybody just stops paying?
Yeah, if it's in with the first month.
Is there, like with mortgages, like the person who owns it is personally on the hook for it? Are you personally on the hook for it or no?
Well, because I'm the person signed up with the bank, the commission has to be given back. So like I'll cut my guys the check, but I tell them, listen, like 30 days, everyone is smart enough to know by now.
Okay. Oh, it's just the commission. You don't have to like take back the loan.
Oh, no. Well, I mean,
that's what I was thinking.
Best of luck if you could get the loan back if they can't make the payment. But
no, what I'm saying is so with mortgages, right? In the case of the mortgage business, if Sal makes a loan and it goes bad and they stop paying in like 3 months, whoever bought that loan is selling the whole loan back to Sal. Like Cardinal has to take the loan back. Are you guys responsible for the loan, or they just want the commission back within 30 days?
I mean, because it's an unsecured loan,
they're
going to reach out to the merchant and just be like, what's going on with the business? Why can't you make the payments? Do you need us to modify the payments for you? Like any person, so like if it's your money, you'd rather something than nothing. So like they'll say, is the $2,400 a little too heavy now? If we reduce it and I'm talking about 3 to 6 months into the loan. You can't do that the first month.
But are the brokers ever responsible for those loans?
I'm not responsible for any loan. I'm responsible for my commission that I made for putting the loan together.
Got it. Okay, so now I have to ask you because I need to know, and I've never gotten a real answer out of people. What is the default rate on these things? Not the ones that are bad. Like I'm talking about like the dirty ones, like the 45% interest, unsecured, you're lending to the pizzeria, freaking $20,000. What is the default rate on these things?
I mean, obviously I have to protect myself, right? You see it as dirty. I could have just saved the guy's business.
All right, you know what?
But
you're right. I take that back.
Listen.
I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. Edit that out. So I'm gonna replay
Keep
this.
it in, man. I like the heat. I like the heat right now.
So yeah, what is that? Because I don't want you to mesh it in with the whole like, all right, I'm lending off this guy's real estate, whatever.
Yeah, to answer your question, the default rate isn't what you would think it would be. There's only like maybe 5 to 10%.
I actually thought it was 15%.
Now look at the RTR though, right? If you're lending money at 45% over,
what's an RTR?
Like what they're paying back on the loan.
Oh yeah, listen.
Right. So
I still think it's awesome.
$100,000 over 6 months is 145.
Okay.
Right. You get that money back. It's 90% over annualized. So if 5 to 10%
keep
defaults,
talking dirty to me. I like it.
If 5 to 10% defaults, you're still up 80%.
Yeah. Well, that's what I try to say to people. And listen, what you're doing is very smart. So if you have an investor come to you and he's like, "Hey, I like 45% returns. It's sexy. I'm not getting that anywhere else." You take his $100,000 and you might put 2,000 here, 3,000 there, 5,000 there. So you spread it out to diversify the risk. And then if the target is 45%, if everything goes well, and there's a 5 or 10 or 15% default, and it ultimately adjusts him down to 30%, he just made 30%. Like, you're not making 30% anywhere else. So that's the way you have to look at it.
The return on investment for syndication, there's probably nothing out there that it could compare.
It's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you guys track? Are you guys actively going out there and raising money?
So, I mean, maybe it would be like a long-term goal, but like
yeah, you should put a fund together.
I put my money into a lot of deals.
You know, funds are easy. Like to build a fund, and it doesn't have to be crazy. I just learned this because what we're doing is the way I fund my deals is I raise private money from private investors, and it's on a deal-to-deal basis. So like it's not pooled money, but it's like at scale, it's fucking annoying because we're buying, like right now we're doing on average like 4 deals a week. So you have 4 deals coming in, 4 deals going out. Investors that, need to go out, need to come back in, right? And they all want to roll their money. So you're like constantly figuring out what fits with what. They're coming out of a house that you raised $600,000 for, and now you're buying 3 houses at $300,000 each. You need 400 to carry, like do the numbers. So it becomes very difficult to manage that. So now I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck it, I'm not doing this anymore. We're going to build a fund. So we're going to build a fund. We're going to have a commitment for 3 years. So you can commit for 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years. You have to, the first 60 days, you don't get paid interest because there's like a time to get the money actually out there working. Yeah. And your return is connected to the amount of time that you're committing. So let's say if you want to be in for a year, you're at 8.5%, 2 years, 9.5%, 3 years, 10.5%.
Right.
And then now there's just a fund. So like my finance, like Mark, the CFO back there, can just access the fund and just boom.
Shoot it out, yeah.
As opposed to raising money on each individual deal. And you can raise like a bunch of little funds. Like you could have a couple of $1 million funds. It doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. You have the right documents, the right legal team. You have to be, SEC, all that shit. You need 6 months. You open and close the fund. But like you could easily do something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely not rocket science.
You could make a shitload of money doing that, bro.
Let's do it.
I'm fucking like, don't tease me.
I've been telling
This is on the goddamn podcast. The world's going to see this. It's out there forever. No pressure.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, so Greg's got to go to a wedding, right?
He looks ready for it.
He is ready.
Yeah.
I want to see him in his suit. I'm excited about it. So, listen, I appreciate you coming on.
I appreciate you having me. Shout out to Sal, too. He's the man.
Both of them.
Yeah, both of them.
They're both the men. So, listen, if anybody, I don't know if you're looking to grow from a employee standpoint, but if there are guys out there that know how to sell and want to make some real money, because I'm sure that there's money in this for these guys. Guys that like can hit the phones and know how to sell, I feel like they can make a lot of money doing this.
If you're not scared of the phone and you're willing to put in the phone calls, you'll make money. I'm still doing it after 10, 12 years, whatever it's been.
That's code for if you're not lazy and you hit the phones, you can make a shit ton of money. Like, don't be a doctor. Go work with Steve. That's where I'm at. Don't be a lawyer. Go work with Steve. Plumber, I don't know. Plumber's a different story. If I could go back
That's
in
the
time,
new.
I
That's
would
the
be
new
a
come
plumber.
up, man. Anything handy, plumbers, electricians.
Dude, I've been saying that shit
Yeah.
for years. Not electricians so much, plumbers. Those dudes print money in their goddamn
Yeah,
basement.
it's insane.
So if anybody's interested in borrowing from you, if anybody's interested in working for you, if anyone's interested in checking out your freaking shirtless after pictures, and Lord knows there's going to be a ton of ladies, but you're committed. What's your girlfriend's name?
Jackie will smoke any bitch. That
Yeah,
hits
Jackie. You have nothing to worry about. But, I mean, it's nice to have a nice, nice piece next to you. Meaning you are the piece.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
How do they
Not
get?
so bad yourself, man.
Thank you,
if
sir.
If you had a bow tie and you were stripping again,
How do people get in touch with you? How do they find you on social media? How do they find your company on social media?
My social media is S__Henriquez15. And the business page, to be honest with you, type in American Business Funding and you'll find it.
Bam! I'm a handsome home buyer. If you have a house that smells like cat pee, dated from the 1960s, if it's nice, if it's old, if it's fallen down, I don't give a shit. I want to buy it. 516-777 sold. That's a wrap.